Shalom, everybody. Welcome back to Insights in the Parsha of the Week, based on the insights of Rabbi Nachman and Rav Nosson. This week's Parsha, Korach. Amazing. We read it every year, and we're shocked. You see clearly how you see, but you ask, how could it be people are opposed to Moshe Rabeinu? Today, we all believe in Moshe Rabeinu, right? Any Jew was the minimum observance of Torah and mitzvot and Shabbat, he will for sure, be on Moshe Rabbeinu's side. And the question is always on Korach. And we wonder, how could this be? How could it come that a person who's so great as Korach can oppose Moshe Rabeinu? Where does it come from? Where does it emanate from that a person will do such brazenness, such chutzpah, have the audacity to oppose someone as great as Moshe Rabeinu? Korach, he can't deny that Moshe Rabeinu helped to bring him out of Egypt, and he did the splitting of the Red Sea with his staff, that Hashem made him be the vehicle, the beacon, the means for the miracles that took place in leaving Egypt and leaving the Red Sea, etc. The manna coming down, the Har Sinai, Kabbalat Torah, 40 days and 40 nights up in heaven. What's going on, Korach? So Rav Nosson goes into this very deep in a few places. And basically what it comes out to is that there's a Jew who every Jew, there's a level of emunah, faith, which is blind faith, which means no intellect, just believing. And there's a level of understanding of intellect, okay? Now every Jew, as an active Jew, you need activity and action and involvement in these two. You need emunah involvement and sechel, intellect involvement. When you're learning Torah, you have to, use your intellect and get into things, etc. and to understand if there's mathematics, if there's now just laws of which make sense, using your brain to understand what the Gemara is saying, what the Chumash is saying, what the Midrash is saying, okay, halacha, okay? There's two areas that you use as a functioning Jew, emunah, faith, and sechel, intellect. The question is, what is priority? What is first and foremost? What is the goal? What is of utmost importance? In Judaism, it's explained clearly that the forefront of Judaism is emunah, and within emunah, you put the sechel. In other words, a person is learning Gemara. In his subconscious, I believe everything that's written on this page of the Gemara and what Rashi is saying, and Tosfot, and the Rosh, and the Rif, and the Ran, whatever. If it's Chumash and Rashi, I believe everything. And now I seek to understand within that belief. I believe. I believe I will do what you tell me to do. Moshe Rabeinu, the Torah, Halacha, Shulchan Aruch, the Beit Yosef, Ben Ish Chai, whoever. I'm following. I have submitted through emunah. I'm accepting. But I seek to understand within that. I'm not going to chas v'shalom come to deny. I'm going to understand within the cup of emunah. Okay? This is where a person puts what's called tzidkut, tzaddik, which also means faith in the tzaddikim, faith in the sages who gave us the Torah. We believe Moshe Rabeinu wrote the Chumash, yes, hearing it word from word from Moshe Rabeinu. We believe that. We have emunah in Moshe Rabeinu, that is called the 5 books of Moses, the Chumash, Chamisha Chumshei Torah, which is the 5, we translate in English as the 5 books of Moshe Rabeinu. Like in the word Chumash, you have Moshe there, right? So it's the books of Moshe Rabeinu. Tehillim, we believe in the words of Tehillim by King David. We believe in the words of all the rabbis who put together the Mishnah, Rabbeinu HaKadosh, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and Rav Ashi, the Gemara, and the Midrashim, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai with the Zohar, okay? And then later on the Arizal, and the Chasidu, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Nachman, all the Tzaddikim, Rishonim, Acharanim, Tanaim, Amoraim, Nevi'im, Rishonim, Nevi'im, Acharanim, everyone, we believe. They wrote something, we have emunah, okay? And then we seek to put intellect in that, okay? The blemish is when a person reverses that. Rav Nosson, just before that, Rav Nosson explains that a person who first acts out of faith and then seeks to understand and develop, but first, foremost is emunah, this is hinted to in the format of Naaseh v'nishma. The Jews are praised for receiving the Torah because they said first Na'aseh v'nishma. What's the praise? What's the noise here? What's so special about the Jewish people that they said first Na'aseh v'nishma and not Nishma v'na'aseh? As they say, Hashem, we will do even without understanding why we're doing what we're doing. You tell us to put on tefillin, we put on tefillin. You tell us to keep Shabbat, we keep Shabbat. No problem, no questions asked. You tell us to cover our hair, to put a kippah on. I'm doing what you tell me to do. That's Na'aseh. And then afterwards, I will seek to understand. First to do and accept. That's Na'aseh, out of Emunah. And then Nishma, then I'll understand. This, Rabbi Nachman coins in lesson 31 as Tzel. Tzel means first tzaddik and then lamdan. First righteousness, believing in the tzaddikim, having service of Hashem out of emunah, out of righteousness, to be a good person, to do the right thing. So that's following blind out of emunah. And then lamdan, then I'll be like learning. As opposed to a person who reverses it. No, I want to understand first. Before I jump into this, I want to make sure that I'm going into this properly and I understand every detail, and only then will I begin to commit to him. That's Lamdan. First, a person who wants to learn the idea, to take a course on Jewish Philosophy 101 and go into things, whatever, and then he'll decide if he believes in it or not. So that's Rashi Tevot, Lamdan, and then Tzaddik. Person who's into the learning part, and then secondary, and afterwards comes the Tzaddik, the righteousness, the Emunah. That spells out let's, lamed, lamdan, and then tzaddik is a let's, which is like a clown, a mocker, someone you make fun of, a mock of. The person is made a mock out of because he's not showing his commitment through blind emunah. Simple, straightforward emunah in Hashem, in the Torah, and in the tzaddikim. He's not having that. That's afterwards. That's coming afterwards. Okay? He's a let's. Rav Nosson explains in a few places, this was the blemish of Korach. Korach couldn't accept with emunah his position that he was given in the tribe of Kehat, and the positions of his uncles and relatives who were given to be the Nesi'im of the tribes of Shevet Levi, within the tribe of Levi. He couldn't take it that he was given, low profile, low esteem, low respect, and he sought to uproot everything. So the Parsha starts off with Korach's rational arguments, right? The Parsha reads, take a look in the Chumash, the 6th Parsha. So, Vayomru Alehem, Korach and his assembly said to Moshe and Aharon, Rav Lachem, you've taken too much already. You, Moshe Rabeinu, you're king. Your brother Aharon is like the high priest. Okay? Why are you guys trying to rule everybody? The whole assembly of sages, etc., they're all holy. Rashi says they all heard from Kulam Shamu B'dvarim B'Sinai Mipei Gvura. Everybody, not just you two guys, heard the 10 Commandments at Har Sinai. We all heard them. Kulam Shamu Dvarim B'Sinai Mipei Gvura. We all heard Hashem opening Anochi Hashem Elokecha and Lo Yelecha, the first two of the 10 Commandments. We all heard that. So if that's the case, what makes you better than us? Okay, Kulam K'toshim Uvtocham Hashem, and Hashem is within them, the divine presence. So then why are you guys trying to rule over us? Why are you guys trying to rule over the assembly of Hashem? What in the world is Korach using? He's using a rationalization. He's trying to rationalize. As opposed to emunah, oh, you're chosen, I believe, I'm bending. I believe Moshe Rabeinu, I accept with simple faith that you are the leader. You know what has to be done. And the Torah also tells us that Moshe did his best to show the Jewish people that he didn't pick Aaron because he wanted to, because he's his brother, so he has, connections, the right connections, and he makes him to be the Kohen Gadol. He did things like the Torah portrays, that the Jewish people should say that Hashem commanded him to do it, and I'm not doing it out of my own. So even the Torah does that. And nonetheless, Korach wasn't accepting that. He wasn't convinced. You chose your brother, and you also are leader. What do you try to be better? All this is rationalization. All this is Lamdan, to be a scholar, because he's using scholarly, so to speak, scholarly argumentation against Moshe Rabeinu. Okay? And where's the Emunah? The Emunah is maybe afterwards. So he was doing what's called first Lamdan, to show a pilpul. It doesn't make sense that you should be leader and Aaron should be the high priest. He's using rationalization. This is his blemish. This is the pigam. This is what was so bad about Korach, the whole story in this week's Parsha of Korach. It's so severe that it entailed the earth opening up and swallowing them up, something that never happened until that time. That as soon as Moshe Rabeinu stopped speaking, the earth opened up with a scary noise, swallowed up every person connected to Korach and his assembly and all their belongings and the clothing. Not one person outside of their assembly was harmed. Only all the people who accepted and believed in Korach's hashkafa and his opinion, they were also swallowed up. What's so bad? It's so dangerous? Such a big punishment, such a severe way of punishment, because of how severe it is when a person blemishes emuna. Emuna is fundamental. It's first and foremost. It has to come before everything. Okay? If now, chas shalom, person uses the brain. Okay, you're Jewish, you have a nice Jewish brain, kol hakavod, bravo. But there's no emunah first and foremost in the forefront. That's a blemish. That's really dangerous. You're asking for it. If you are not set to do things out of emunah, okay, then you're in for it big time. You need a big help to get out of that. So this is why it's so severe, the problem. Rabbi Nachman in lesson 24, he says the key to having emunah as the goal, as the priority, and then after that intellect, is that a Jew works on being happy, besimcha, and doing mitzvot. In the Midrash, it points out that what led to Korach to do all this is that he was sad, he was broken, because as a Levite, in the inauguration of the Levites, they were completely shaven. Their eyebrows, their eyelids, their beard, their payas, all the hair in the body was shaven. And Korach, when he came home shaven, so his wife began to mock him. And out of feeling bad about himself and its low esteem because of what his wife said, that led him, the Midrash says, to all the machlokim, showing that if he was happy that he's doing the will of Hashem and he's accepting it, nothing, what are they doing to me? Again, intellect and no emunah, so there's no simcha. Emunah and simcha are interrelated. If you have simcha, joy, you have emunah. And if you have emunah, you have simcha. Because you believe you're doing the right things, you're happy. And when you're happy, also it's showing that you have emunah. So A, B, B, A. Korach didn't have that. And it led to such a major blemish. Even though Korach was so great, he was an outstanding Torah scholar, yes. And he was filthy rich, yes. But he was missing that attribute of emunah and simcha. And because of that, he fell into this trap. And this is why the Torah is making such a big deal on the Parsha of the punishment for Korach, to show that this attitude of Lamdan, being intellectual and trying to understand things intellectually without emunah, is very dangerous. A person risks losing everything. We should be zoche to always work through emunah and learn and develop our intellect within the cup of emunah, and not the opposite. Not to expect to try to be devoted to God to an intellectual rationalization, because that's not the way. The way is a person has to let go and have emunah. It may be hard for some people who are big thinkers, but the key Rabbi Nachman teaches to building that emunah is working on being happy, because automatically to be happy will dictate that you have to wake up a dormant type of emunah that's hidden within you. As a Jew, you have a dormant point. It's in your DNA as a Jew of emunah, to wake it up through simcha, and vice versa, by the way. And then when that is built strong, then intellectual learning of the Torah won't push you away from the emunah, as opposed to someone who treats secondary emunah and simcha, that's for little people, that's for little kids. I want the real deal, I want the intellectual development. That's a Korach attitude, that's a letz, that's a clown, a mocker, someone who we mock, chas v'shalom. We should be zocher to be tzel, tzaddik, and then lamdan, and then be in the tzel, the shade of Hashem. Betzel shakai yitlonan. We should be zocher to be in the shade of God, by having always, first and foremost, faith in the tzaddikim, faith in the word, first tzaddik, and then lamdan. Shabbat shalom u'miburach.